In this video, I'm going to use the Visual Studio Code environment, and I'm going to uh, generate a uh, database, a SQLite database from a SQL script. So I have two scripts. One is a create and some insert, and then I have another script that is all insert. And I usually, since a .SQL file is under certain circumstances executable, can be run, and I usually will sort of deliver them as a zip file. And so the first thing to do, of course, is to unzip it. So I'm in Windows 10 here, and I am right-clicking and saying extract. So I extracted the quote script, and I am also going to extract this multi-line insert script. Okay. So then I am going to make a database, just going to sort of make it, do a demo, throw it out. So I'm just going to, right here in my downloads, I'll make a folder. And this is a little quote database. I'm just going to call it quote rev for revisited. Um, okay, so I made a folder. Now I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code. And I'm going to do a file, open folder, and I want that folder. So it was in downloads. It was quote rev. Okay. And here's the Explorer, and right now there's nothing in it, but I'm going to put those two scripts in there. So I'm going to, here was the quote script, the create script. I'm going to copy that, and why is it being so slow to open a paste? And then the author script, copy, and paste that in there. And so we have now the two scripts inside that folder. If I return to Visual Studio Code and look in the Explorer, we see those two SQL scripts. Now I'm going to do the new file. I'm going to add, and I'll call it also quote revisited. No reason it has to have the same name of the folder, but .db, so it'll be recognized as a database file. And there we go. Now I'm going to close that, and I'm going to, this first script I'm going to deal with is the create script. So I'm going to highlight that, just have a peek at it. There it is. It's going to create a table called author and do some inserting. Then it's going to create a table called quote. And that's it. So it's going to just be a two table. There are authors, there are quotes. A quote, an author may have many quotes, but a quote has one author. So quote will reference author. So we see that here. Down here in line 12, the quote table references the author table. Okay. And we have some insert. Okay. So we have a SQL script, and we want to run it to put tables, the author table and quote table, into this database that we just made. So I'm going to go to the view command palette. Oh, before that, sorry. Let me show that I have my extensions, and I have two SQLite extensions. So I start typing SQLite, and I have installed, and as far as SQLite goes, the Alex CVZZ extension and the SQLite 3 editor extension. So I have those two extensions. And let me go back to Explorer now. Okay. So I have my SQLite, I have my SQL script highlighted. So that's what's popping up here. I have the database file generated, though it's empty. And I'm going to, and I know I've verified that I have my two SQLite scripts or extensions, sorry, that I like. Okay. So I'm going to go to View Command Palette. I may have to search, but it's popped up there because I've used it recently, Run Query. So I'm going to when I run the query, it's going to ask me to direct it to a database. But let me run the query. And then here it says, choose the database I want to run it for. I'm going to, like in an in-memory database, no, I want to use this quote rev that I made. And then it has run it here. So we see a lot of things. And it says that it created it. It says it inserted. It said it inserted, and so on. So that is that's it. That script has run and successfully. And let me now click on the database. And then I have the SQLite editor over here down in the bottom of Explorer. And I have a table of authors, and I just have my Angelou and Groucho Marx. And then I have a number of quotes, 3 from Maya, 3 from Groucho. Okay, and that's what was in the SQL script here. Okay, and just some little discussion of the SQL script. So it has the keywords create. This is the two creates are part of the data definition language. So I'm creating a table called author. The in databases we often talk about metadata and data, and so the names of tables and the names of properties, these are often referred to as metadata. They in some sense describe the data. This is a table about authors. There is a field that is the author's ID. There's a field called the last name, and so the metadata often goes in tick marks. They're not always necessary, but if you see tick marks, you're pretty sure that that is metadata, the name of a table, the name of a property, and so on. And then here in 5.6, we are doing an insert. That's data manipulation language. That is about actual, doing something with actual data, not just the schema, but actual data. And so there's a mix of tick marks and quote marks there. And so the tick marks are referring to the table and the names of the properties. And then the around the data, especially the strings, and this is all string data here, um, there's an integer, but that's the primary key and that's auto incremented. So you don't see that in the insert. The database is taking care of that, and all the other uh, properties were text. And so the actual data comes in, could be double quotes or single quotes. This one happens to have single quotes. So the metadata in ticks and the data in quotes or double quotes. Um, and let's just take a fuller peek at an insert here. Insert into author, give all the names of the properties, and then so parentheses around a list of the columns, and then the word values, and then another parentheses and a list. So, and this one with quotes, the first one with tick marks, the second one with quotes. So this is a list of column names. This is a list of values going into those columns. And so that's what an insert looks like. So we had a create, then we had two inserts, then we had another create, then we had a bunch of inserts. But these inserts are sort of single line inserts. Now, just because my eye caught it, um, the single quote plays a role in SQL, and then there can be uh, text, there can be data, which it also has a quote in it. Like this quote, it's one of our greatest gifts you can give yourself to forgive, and so you see that you have to do sort of special things to get a quote, to get a single quote within text. You have to do a little more work, and sort of this was sort of I sort of got this sort of reversed engineered it. I sort of made in a different way. I made the table and then I exported a script. And so it handled this problem for me, but I am showing you this problem while I have it up. Okay. There was a second script now that I want to run. So let's look at the second script. And this is a multi-select. So there were some inserts, not multi-select, but a multi-insert. Each one of these inserts, every uh, semicolon marks sort of the end of a SQL statement. And so this consisted of many statements, and uh, each record being inserted was its own SQL statement here. I had several of them, but each one was its own statement. And here in the multi-insert, I'm doing it a different way. So the beginning is similar. Insert into author, and then the list in parentheses of the column names, and then the keyword values. But I have my data in parentheses and then a comma, and then another set of data and a comma, and another set of data, and then when I'm finally done, semicolon. So this is just a different way, a different SQL, so I can have multiple scripts associated with one database. And also there's more than one way to insert. I can insert sort of record by record in single SQL statements, or I can do, I'm calling this a multi-insert. A bunch of data, I'm saying insert once, but I'm giving you multiple records to be inserted in one SQL statement. And so we will do again what our view command palette. I have the script I want run up and highlighted. I'm going to say run this query. Um, I want it applied to uh, quote revdb, and it was a single statement. So we only see, before we saw a number of sort of expandable sections here. Now we only see one, even though it inserted three records. And now I'm going to go back to the database over here, and I inserted more authors. So I'm going to check out my author table, and there we see that one statement gave me three more authors: Albert Einstein, Abraham Lincoln, Emily Dickinson. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you with this one, running SQL scripts in Visual Studio Code. I'm using SQLite, and I had two SQLite extensions brought in to Visual Studio Code. The first script had a mixture of creates and inserts, a data definition and data manipulation language, and the inserts were one statement per row, whereas the multi-insert had one statement but multiple rows. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you on this one. Thank you for your attention.